Good morning, Liberty County. We're here again today on this Wednesday to report to you our latest updates on how we're managing the COVID epidemic as it applies to Liberty County and, of course, all of our municipalities. We want to say that we had encouraging news this morning from Dr. Lawton Davis about what has gone on in the coastal area. Our numbers have remained pretty much the same. And of course, we're thankful there has not been any casualties to that, so we're proud of that. And he gives credit to your compliance as the reason for that. So thank you so much for being compliant. Thank you so much for working with us. And we'd like to once again thank our working partners. I call them Team Liberty. You know, some who you see in this room with me, others who have been on teleconferences, others who are working behind the scenes. So thanks to Team Liberty for working together to help our numbers to be what they are, and we want that to continue. So please don't quit, don't stop. The Bible says, "Be not weary in well doing." So be not weary in well doing. You know, keep that up, and we will make it. We will make it. I promise you that we will. So hear it from me, from your chairman. Thank you again for your compliance. I do encourage you, as you will hear from others, that keep wearing those masks, keep hand sanitizing, keep social distancing. I'm hearing this morning, too, from my Environmental Services Department that many of you have been so concerned that you are alerting them when you see possible violations. So thank you for doing that. That means you care, and that means a lot. That's who we are. That's who we are in Liberty County. So it's our honor to serve you, honor to serve a community that cares, a community that wants to do the right thing, and a community that together we'll see this thing through. So thank you again from the bottom of my heart. At this time, we will hear from Mayor Larry Baker, the Honorable Mayor of the City of Walthourville.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Mayor Brown, Minister Kenny Howard. Again, we are in this together, and we're not moving fast. We're going to move as slow as we can because it's still out there. And I'd like to personally thank the city of Walthourville for adhering to the call. And we're not moving fast. We're going to move as slow as we can to make sure that everyone is taken care of. We are going to sit down with a meeting with the Team Liberty and discuss our opening day, but right now we don't have an opening day at this point. Thank you so much. Mayor Allen Brown, City of Hinesville.
Thank you, Mayor, County Commission Chairman. Team Liberty, I like that. Good morning to all of our residents of Hinesville and Liberty County that are online with us. As you've no doubt seen, we seem to be in a holding pattern here in Liberty County and in the surrounding areas, and it's very encouraging. So I'll be brief today. Today would have been the day originally that Governor Kemp's orders would have expired. However, his recent extension has us holding in place until May 31st at midnight. That means sheltering in place for the elderly and for those with severe health issues. As written in his orders and posted on our social media accounts, certainly you can find them there. Many safety measures for both critical and non-critical infrastructure industries and the continued closure of bars, nightclubs, amusement parks, and live performance venues. You can read the full orders on our website or get a synopsis of them on our Facebook page. In our case, the count seems to be consistently low and with very small jumps here and there. In fact, I know I've done this before, but I track the daily occurrences of cases, and now that we've gotten testing going on, I will say that we had a little bump for a few days, but in the last 9 days, we've had 3 cases, 1 on 3 different days, and on 6 days, we had no cases reported. So I kind of like that trend. I think we're moving in the right direction there. I want to thank the Department of Public Health and Diversity Health Center for all their hard work in getting testing taken care of in our community. And I know the city of Hinesville is on tap for Thursday for some testing. And we've heard some really, considering our county size, some fairly large numbers for numbers of tests done. So just a reminder for you to please continue to hold steady as we come into what is hopefully the final weeks of relative isolation. Wear your mask in when you have to go out. Listen to me, wear your mask in doors when you have to go out. Wash your hands and take care of your families. We're almost there, and I'm looking forward to returning to a somewhat more normal lifestyle real soon. Please continue to be the great citizens that Mr. Lovette speaks of that you've been during this crisis. Please stay safe and vigilant. Thank you.
Good morning. Hinesville, Liberty County, let me just say thank you. You guys have been great under the circumstances of the coronavirus, COVID-19 pandemic. We really have bonded together in an effort to minimize the spread of this virus. You know, according to the Department of Public Health, Dr. Davis mentioned earlier, and you've heard Mayor Brown reference this, and Chairman Lovette, as well as Mayor Baker, reference the vigilance of our community and staying the course under these circumstances. Dr. Davis basically confirmed something that we've been talking about for at least 6 weeks now, and that is we have been very cautious in our approach to address this virus, and the numbers are reflective of that. We've had many tests done over the last several weeks, and the numbers are very low so far as the proportionate number is concerned, and so we're encouraged by that. But we're not out of the woods yet. About 2 months ago, we basically restricted public access to city buildings and facilities, and as a result, we, I think, sort of curtailed that perspective. However, we've gotten to the point now where it is time to start planning the reopening of our facilities. And so, therefore, we are in the midst of planning the reopening of city buildings and facilities to the public for public access. We will, within the next month, provide services within the city's facilities. As of June 15th, I will make recommendation to Mayor and Council. Actually, tomorrow we'll be presenting our plan out for them to consider, but we anticipate June 15th being the day that we would basically make our facilities available for public access. Would caution or just inform you that there will be a difference. There will be a difference in terms of the environment. We are putting mitigation measures in place so far as the coronavirus is concerned. There are CDC guidelines that I think every one of our listeners, viewers, are accustomed to by now. And if you're not, please visit the City of Hinesville website so that you can become familiar with that prior to visiting our facilities. Upon entering the facility, there will be a temperature check and face mask or face covering will be required. And so there will be policies associated with these measures, and we'll further explain that to the public tomorrow, and as well as through our social media outlets. So stay tuned for that, because it's very critical that the public is well informed as to what our expectations are for them entering into the facilities. In addition to that, we want to extend compliments to our health departments. We have diversity and Department of Public Health. They're doing a magnificent job so far as administering these tests. Why is that important? It is important because we need to basically identify where these cases are and how many we have. There are some goals so far as the testing is concerned. Diversity over the last several weeks have administered over right at 1,400 tests in coastal Georgia region, primarily in Liberty County. But there are test sites in Glenville and Jessup and Long County as well. Spoke to Dr. Davis this morning in a conference call, and as I stated earlier, he reiterated the fact that we're doing well. So we cannot become complacent. we must stay the course. We must continue to be vigilant. I like that the Bible verse that Chairman Lovette spoke of, do not be weary in well-doing. So we want to make sure that we are just being very consistent in our approach. And as I ride around and look at the businesses in Hinesville and Liberty County for that matter, everyone seemed to be on the same page. And so we want to continue that effort so that we all can come out of this better on the other side, as the mayor would always say. So thank you very much for your time. Mr. Brown.
Thanks, Mr. Howard. I appreciate it very much. Just a few things, I guess, to catch up on today. First, in the area of recreation activities, during a special call meeting on Monday, the Board of Commissioners approved Phase 1 of the Recreation Department's reopening plan, and that'll be effective this weekend, May 23rd, 2020. With that approval, the board granted the authority to reopen some outdoor facilities with specific restrictions in place. These facilities will include ball fields, basketball courts, tennis courts, batting cages, and the skate park. There are some restrictions there. Not more than 10 individuals may gather at any facility at one time, and users must observe social distancing rules by maintaining at least 6 feet of distance between themselves and any person at all times. This provision will not apply to cohabitating persons, family units, or roommates residing together. Additionally, batting cages cannot be occupied by more than 2 persons at a time, and tennis courts will have a maximum limit of 4 persons per court. Each facility or portions of, in the instance of ball fields, may be reserved for exclusive use for a limited amount of time. To make a reservation, you can call the Liberty County Recreation Department office at 876-5359, not more than 1 week in advance. If you don't reserve the field use or facility usage is on a first-come, first-served basis. If the facility is full, those desiring to wait their turn must observe those social distancing rules also. The facilities are going to be monitored by recreation staff, and the board did stress that it remained concerned about possible transmission of the virus and urged everyone to practice proper sanitation measures and follow the regulations in order to ensure that facilities could remain open. The board also authorized staff to begin work toward trying to open 2 of our pool facilities, and that's the one in Hinesville and the one in the Midway area. We'll move towards, as a staff, solicitation of workers in preparation of those facilities. And if all goes well, we anticipate that hopefully a recommendation can be made back to the board to open those facilities in the early June timeframe. Both of those, like the other facilities, are going to be subject to the social distancing guidelines, and they will have reduced capacity limits when they open. I do want to shift, as Mr. Howard did, to a partial reopening of some of our buildings to the public. The staff's been authorized to finalize their plan towards doing that. Again, it'll depend on availability of supplies and some things we need to do internally to those buildings to ensure the safe compliance efforts and to accommodate visitors. Much like Mr. Howard talked about, it will be different on our facilities when they do reopen, hopefully in the first part of June again. We will have reduced capacity levels. We will still encourage folks to make appointments when necessary, and we will encourage PPE use inside of these buildings. Finally, let me mention on the animal control side, because that's special to a lot of folks. Many of you are aware that we provide this service countywide. Our goal all along every day is to work with many of the different adoption agencies in attempts to find homes for those domestic animals, and these agencies play a key role in that. When the outbreak happened, what we saw was a discontinuance of availability of fostering or adoption of those by those agencies on a nationwide basis. And for that reason, we had to limit or actually suspend picking up stray animals. We were still handling emergency calls for dangerous animals and dog bite cases. We hope that in the next couple of weeks we're able to resume those operations. These adoption agencies are coming back online now, And we have a list that we've been maintaining of stray animals locations. We're going to start working that list this week. And if all goes well, then by next week, we should be able to answer stray animal calls during normal working hours. As many of you are aware, the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court of Georgia, Harold Melton, extended the judicial state of emergency with the courts through June 12th. This continues the suspension of all jury and grand jury proceedings. Right now, the Justice Center is open for limited traffic to conduct certain essential court-related functions, mostly by appointment. The judges of the Atlanta Judicial Circuit are finalizing guidelines for in-person court proceedings. These rules will apply to all persons entering the Justice Center during this emergency period. And once these are finalized by the judges, these will be posted to the website. Finally, let me mention a brief mention of elections. The 2 early voting sites did open this week, and they'll be open through June 5th. They are located at the main election office in Hinesville and also at the Liberty County Community Complex in Midway, Georgia. If you're, please be patient because we do have PPE measures in effect for the staff there and for your protection. We have posted to our website a Vote Safe Liberty notice which outlines certain things related to these elections. I'd ask you to go there and please read that in its entirety if you will. Many of you have received absentee ballots. Just as a reminder, unless you're a military or overseas voters, these ballots must be returned no later than the close of the polls at 7 p.m. on Election Day. In light of that situation, I mentioned last week, the Secretary of State did authorize Board of Elections to allow use of absentee ballot drop boxes. Our local board has received this box, and it is secured at the board's main office location, located on the Midway Street side or the Bradwell Park side. You won't miss it. It's red, white, and blue, and really decorated by some things that have to be put there. The election superintendent is finalizing the signage, the mandatory signage that has to go next to the box, and I think it's their hopes that by the end of this week, by Friday, that it'll be in place and you can do that. Just as a reminder, this box is monitored by cameras 24 hours a day and is available for use during those periods of time with no postage necessary. Again, I mentioned at the polls, social distancing protocols are in effect and voters are encouraged to wear face cloths there. However, if you don't, you will not be denied the right to vote. I just want to say really in closing that much like everybody else has, I appreciate everybody's diligence during this difficult period of time as we do our best to protect the public and our employees while still being able to provide the services that you need. And thank you again, and please stay safe.
Thank you, gentlemen, for your presentations. Just want to close by sharing this with you. This morning I was watching TV and there was, I think it was Lansing, Michigan, if I'm not mistaken, they had a flood, and they had to evacuate a lot of people, and they put them in some large facility. The news reporter said some folk opted not to go in that facility. They instead said, I'm going to sleep in my cars. This morning, one of my employees mentioned a local gym here that had the floor configured, I think it's 6 foot square. He said some people were abiding by it, some people weren't. So he stayed there about 20 minutes, and his good sense said, I'm getting up out of here. So I want to remind you of what our mothers told us, especially with the holiday weekend coming up, you know. And let me say this before I forget about it. Congratulations, class of 2020. Congratulations, class of 2020. But then let me remind you what our mothers told us when we were children. If you see somebody jump off a bridge, are you going to go right behind that person and jump too? Our mothers taught us that. Let's use that wisdom. Let's use that wisdom. It's Memorial Day weekend. People are going to want to celebrate. But because somebody else jumped, that don't mean you have to jump. Let's all be safe. Let's have a safe holiday weekend. And we'll come back. And I remind you, once again, be not weary and well doing in due season. In due season. Now, I can't say when that season is, but I pray that it's not as long as it has been. So be safe. Have a happy holiday. And we look forward to seeing you again next week, same time, same place. Thank you so much.